Hello to those of you who have joined us. Let's give a few minutes for others to connect.
This is where I think music would help Christine. So it's not quite so quiet.
Yeah, we can give just one more minute for people to join, and then we'll get started. If you want, in the meantime, you can type in the chat where you are joining us from. That would be nice. Wow, look at all those places. And we know this meeting is better for some people in the world and not so good for others, but the closing plenary we will be balancing time zone groups. So the closing plenary will be better for people in Africa and Europe and some parts of the Americas. Nice. Thank you very much for all of you for joining us in this opening plenary for the Conservation Coaches Network Rally, our first online rally, an in-person gathering for 2020. And due to the COVID situation, we've had to postpone it. So we thought it would be nice to meet virtually, and we are very happy to have you here, and we hope you can take advantage of the different sessions that are being provided today. We have the service of several interpreters. So today we will offer translation to French, Spanish, and Portuguese. And here are some brief instructions on how you can join the translation service. So I will stop briefly so you can see. You have to click on the interpretation button and then choose the language that you want to have. En español, si desean utilizar el servicio de traducción.
If you want to use the interpreting service, you can check this icon, globe icon, and you can select the language that you prefer.
Sorry that I don't speak Portuguese, but same thing, Portuguese, look for the world icon and click on the language that you want. Et en français, vous pouvez cliquer ici et sélectionner la langue française. Okay, so if you get stuck with the translation services, please use the chat and we will do our best to help you. So before we start with our rally, we would like to acknowledge past, present, and emerging custodians of traditional and indigenous people who are here and who have been here before us, and the elders, and also the ancestral spirits of the territories where we live and where we work. And in line with that, some of you probably know that in many parts of the world, these past days have been dedicated to remembering the loved ones who are no longer with us. And in Mexico, during these days, we also welcome millions of monarch butterflies that fly all the way from other parts of North America, from Canada and the United States. And the Purépecha indigenous nation in Michoacán, where these monarch butterflies arrive, they believe that these butterflies represent the souls of those who are no longer with us. And just earlier this year, we had colleagues from North America in CCNet who shared a really great story of how they use the conservation standards to evaluate progress in their monarch conservation efforts. And so I was thinking that really monarchs remind us of the connections at multiple levels across territories and also across, you know, for us as people, and they connect us to our ancestors. So I would like us to, just as this sign says on the highway in Mexico, we are in the presence of butterflies. So I would like us to slow down a bit from our busy lives and dedicate half a minute to remember in silence one or more people who have been special in our lives, who enabled us to be right here where we are now doing what we do. So let's take 30 seconds to just quietly think of these people with gratitude, and then we will start our rally. Great. Well, I hope that all that good energy and gratitude goes with us for the rest of the rally. And we will start our presentation now with John Morrison, who is our global CCNet coordinator.
Thank you, Christina. You can go ahead to the next slide, I think. So I'm just going to do an overview of CCNet. And for those who might have stumbled into this meeting and you're not sure where you are, what is CCNet? CCNet is the Conservation Coaches Network, and we're a global community of trained professional coaches that use the conservation standards to strengthen conservation actions and results around the world. So hopefully you're in the right Zoom meeting. Next slide. Here's a look at our values, just a reminder. We are inclusive and diverse. We emphasize innovation and excellence. We're results-oriented. We are hopefully distributed responsibly and in a non-hierarchical way. And we also emphasize a culture of cooperation. So those are our network values. Okay, next slide, Christina. And I just want to make a couple announcements. You'll hear more about this, but we have 3 new certified coaches, Emma, Heather, and Josh, are newly installed certified coaches. And like I said, you'll hear more about them, get biographies and see pictures. We'll send that out in the CCNet news, and I'll probably make a listserv announcement as well. But that's very exciting that we have more certified coaches. All right, I also want to make an announcement, just a reminder really, about the case study winners from the last 2020 round. And in 3rd place, we have a tie, though both of the case studies are from the same organization. So congratulations to the Chilean National Forest Corporation for their 2 case studies that tied for 3rd place. In 2nd place, we had Traffic and their case study about reducing opportunities for unlawful transport of endangered species, or their ROOTS program. And then the winner, the overall winner, was a combination of the Endangered Wildlife Trust and the International Crane Foundation, and their winning case study was about a partnership for the adoption of the conservation standards. So you can look on the Conservation Standards website to get more information about these case studies and start preparing for the next round of the case study competition. And we hope to get lots more case studies, because that's been an objective of our community, was to collect and curate more case studies so that we would have more examples of where this is working, where the conservation standards and coaching is working across the world. Christina, next slide. All right, just a tiny quick overview of the history of the conservation standards and the Conservation Measures Partnership and the Conservation Coaches Network. So there are a number of threads that led to the establishment of the Conservation Measures Partnership and the Open Standards, as it was called at the time. So CMP was established about 2002. The Open Standards were formalized in 2004. 2.0 happened in 2007. Then 3.0 of the Open Standards happened in 2013. And then a name change, the Conservation Standards, or the Open Standards 4.0, happened in 2020. And we're not sure when the next version of the Conservation Standards will come out. Carolyn Stem won't answer the phone anymore. So we were pushing to have a new version, but she's just not responding to us. And parallel to all of this was the development of a coaches network. So the coaches network, in one form, the Ephraimson Coaches Network, started approximately 2004 in the Nature Conservancy. And soon they realized that it wasn't enough just to have a coaches network in the Nature Conservancy. And so it started to become more of an international, multi-institutional network. And in 2009, with 4 founding partners, CCNet was chartered. And since then, we've had a couple rounds of strategic plans, and we're due to redo our strategic plan. And we'll be looking for some input from you to help us think about what our priorities should be later during this session. All right, Christina, next slide. And this is just a quick graphic showing the total coaches that have been trained over the last few years since 2004. It's been relatively steady growth until relatively recently. Something's come up, and we haven't been able to get together as easily to train coaches, but we're hoping that passes, or at least becomes more manageable soon. Next slide. Here's another graphic that just shows the number of coaches that have been trained by year and by franchise. You'll see that in 2020, that last coach training, that last cohort, that happened in South Africa in February of 2020, before everything shut down, and we haven't had a coach training since that time. But again, we're hoping that we can reinvigorate our coach training program soon. Next slide. Here's a graphic that just shows the distribution of coaches in different kinds of institutions. You'll see that half of coaches come from nonprofit organizations, from non-governmental organizations. The next largest group are consultants, and I think that's a very healthy development, because a few rallies ago there weren't nearly so many consultants, and so now it's become really a viable professional concern, and that's great. And then come government agencies and academic institutions, and then some smaller groups after that. So that just gives you a rough idea of how the coaches are distributed. Next slide. Here's a graph of the number of countries that have coaches in them. Almost 70 different countries have coaches. And the next slide will show us the number of organizations that have coaches. So over 250 organizations have conservation coaches. So that's wonderful. The growth is pretty consistent. I want to make a point about our finances. And so you'll see the blue portion of this circle is actually our cash budget, but the green portion is the in-kind portion. So with roughly a 3-to-1 ratio of in-kind contributions, these are coming from the regional networks. So it's a 3-to-1 match in terms of in-kind contributions from the regional networks, from all of the volunteers, versus a relatively modest cash budget of $124,000. So that's a really important point. And then here is a graphic of our regional networks. We used to call them franchises. So we've got North America, Latin America, Africa, Europe, Mongolia, China, Southeast Asia, Australia, and we have had a South Asian regional network in the past. Currently, we don't have leadership for that. And if you know anyone who's living in South Asia who would like to lead a South Asian regional network, we would be appreciative to hearing about that. And then the next slide really shows the key personnel that make up CCNet, in addition, of course, to you, all of the coaches. These are the regional network leaders. They're also representatives of partner organizations or communities of practice. And that 3-to-1 match of in-kind time versus our cash budget, these are the people, along with their core teams and other coaches within the regional networks, who are supplying all of that volunteer horsepower. These are the people that we have to thank for everything that CCNet's been able to do. Next slide. This is the coordination team. We're the group that tries to keep the lights on. So there's Christina and myself, and Christina and myself are the only paid employees of CCNet. Christina works half-time for CCNet. I work 1 day a week, and Michael and Marcia and Olivia and Terry volunteer to help steer the network with the help of the board, which is largely made up of the regional network leadership. Next slide. Our core products, so the Conservation Coaches Network's core products in our minds are the coach trainings, which, as I've said, we haven't been able to hold since February 2020. Coach rallies, and you're participating in one right now. It's our first virtual coach rally. We have a listserv, the CCNet News, and a website. It's a combination of the Coaches Network and the Conservation Measures Partnership and a Conservation Standards website. Next slide. So just to dive a tiny bit deeper into each of these things, perhaps most of you came into the network through a coach training. At least a large proportion of you did. And these coach trainings typically last about a week. They're fairly intensive. We try to forge a feeling of a cohort and group cohesion, and a feeling that you're really part of something much larger when we take you through a coach training. And hopefully we learn something along the way. I know that I learned something in every one that I've participated in. Next slide. And of course, there's the coach rallies. Here's some shots from past rallies. This one is from Oregon and Mexico and California, and some fun activities along the way. And then Georgia, USA, and Spain and Catalonia, and our most recent rally in Australia near Sydney in the Blue Mountains. And these are wonderful events. I apologize that we haven't had an in-person rally. We're all disappointed when it hasn't been able to happen, but hopefully, fingers crossed, next year in Victoria. All right. And then there is the CCNet News, which Christina handles. The format of the news will be a little bit different. Instead of having a semi-annual news, we'll have more periodic, more frequent, shorter stories. And then there's the listserv, which I find really helpful. I think it has just the right amount of traffic. There's all sorts of interesting things coming up. There's job announcements and how do you do this, and tips about guidance, etc. So not too much traffic, and enough traffic to make sure that you know everyone else is alive and listening. And you can sign up for either of these things on our website. If you look, there's sections for signing up for the news and for the listserv. Next slide, Christina. And then, of course, there's the website. This is the CCNet portion, but usually, if you're trying to find CCNet, the CCNet website, you'd come into a triptych of a website where you could enter either the Conservation Measures Partnership portion, or the Conservation Coaches Network portion, or the Conservation Standards portion. And we developed these websites together because we work so closely together. And we just wanted to emphasize that close collaboration. And just here's I know you can't read our results chain. Of course, I would show a results chain, and of course, I would show one that you can't read, but I just want to highlight a few elements of this. The next click, Christina, will just show how we think about the overall strategy, and that's CCNet as a strategy for more effective conservation worldwide. We think we're actually making a contribution to more effective conservation worldwide, in addition to the work of the Conservation Measures Partnership and the conservation standards. So the first component is training and supporting coaches. That's probably our core work. Then the next component is to strengthen the coach professional pathway, and that's about coach certification, and we're starting to get into practitioner certification as well. The next component is about promoting efficient knowledge sharing, and that's what the website and the listserv and the rallies are all about. And then the next component is supporting basic conservation standards along with the Conservation Measures Partnership, because the more that we can create practitioners who understand what the conservation standards and good conservation planning is all about, the more opportunity we'll have to find good coaches. And then finally, there's just strengthening the institution of CCNet itself, just making sure we can keep the lights on and we're organized well and we're doing the right things. I think that's it for that slide, Christina. And it's back to you. I have no idea if I was on time or if I went over time.
You did great. Thank you, John. So what we would like to do next is give you some time in smaller breakout rooms. We will not assign a facilitator unless if you selected one of the groups that will be done in French, in Spanish, or Portuguese. And Olivia will be sharing with us a link to a mural board. So Olivia, if you can please help us. Oh, and I forgot to say, if you want to be in one of the breakout groups in Spanish, in Portuguese, or French, please type in the chat right now, and we will assign you as quickly as possible. Sorry that I missed that.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Christina. I am going to send folks into breakouts, and then what's going to happen is either I or Natalie Holland will come into your breakout room and provide you with a link to the mural for you to have your conversations on. So we've designed these murals to look like World Cafe style tablecloths. There is going to be one mural per breakout group, and what we want to do is have you stay in your breakout group because there are too many participants and it's too scary and challenging to try to move everyone around in between tables. And so knowing that that's not a World Cafe best practice, we ask that you spend half of the time the first 25 minutes on one of your two tablecloths, and you'll see them both when you get your mural. And then we will send you a message telling you it's halfway through the breakout time and that it's time to move to the other tablecloth. And so if as a group you could move to the other tablecloth and address the topics that are set forth there, we will be grateful. And then we'll let you know when there's 1 minute left for the breakouts before we pull you back into plenary. So it is going to take a couple of minutes for us to get all of the links to your specific murals into your breakout rooms. So while we are working on getting that done, please do take the time to get acquainted with each other. There are going to be 4 or 5 people in each room, and then we'll be there as soon as we can to give you that assignment. I am not seeing any language-specific breakouts in the chat. Are you, Christina?
Mariana and Armando Valdez are saying Español. There's a few for Spanish and some for Portuguese.
Okay, so what's going to happen is I'm going to have to spend a little time now moving Mariana to the Portuguese room. Done. So I'm sorry for everyone to have to listen to this, but I can't see the chat. So Christina, could you just read me the names really quickly?
Yes.
I have Mariana.
Marcia to Spanish.
Okay.
Armando Valdez to Spanish. Mariana Tinel, you already added to Spanish.
Yep.
And Gustavo to Portuguese.
Okay. All right. 2
Oscar
seconds and I'll
to
get that
Spanish.
done. Say that last one again.
Oh. Well, but it's Erica. It's not Oscar saying that he wants to be in the Spanish. So.
Okay, Oscar, you're already in the Spanish. The other thing that you can do is if you wind up in a breakout room and it's not the language that you want, because I may not get this done fast enough, you can leave the breakout room and come back into the main room, and then I can reassign you from there. That's probably the best thing to do, and that way not everybody doesn't have to wait around for this to happen.
Yes,
how about that?
Sounds great.
So I got a couple done. So hopefully most of you will be in the right place, and anyone who's not in the right language room, come back to the main room and I will reassign you and get to know each other. And we are going to provide you the links just as soon as we can. All right? So here we go. I first am going to, though, automatically have you move so that you don't have to do anything more. Here you go.
Well, thanks everyone for all your great feedback. And we only have a bit less than 10 minutes left for closing this plenary. So let me share my screen. Oh, just a second. And we will first hear Jacqueline Lucas will share some news with us from the Conservation Measures Partnership.
Great. Hi, all. I'm just going to make a quick announcement. You may have seen on the CCNet listserv or maybe on the CMP LinkedIn page. We're about to wrap up a video viewing contest. And for the past almost month now, we've been having a contest go along to continue to broaden who is watching these testimonial videos. So it was a great series that was put together since February of this year, and amazing interviews from widespread organizations you can see on the screen here, talking about case studies and generally how they use the conservation standards in their work. We had some outside consultants doing the video editing, and they've turned out absolutely amazing. So from October 5th to November 5th, so just 2 more days, we've been tracking how many views of these videos have happened just in that one single month. And the top 2 organizations or projects that have had the most views in that month long have some pretty amazing prizes that we're offering, everything from travel stipends to the next rally to opportunities to participate in trainings such as the one with Durrell and with UW-Madison. So go out and support your organization and the videos that you enjoy by viewing them and sending them to your networks. Again, great, thanks, Caroline. Again, it ends kind of at 11:59 Eastern US time on Friday. So check out the videos, view them, and spread the word. 2 more days. These are the current rankings. So International Crane Foundation is doing awesome and is currently in first place. And then there's a joint video with WWF and TNC in second place, but there's still time.
Thank you.
That's all from me.
Thanks, Jacqueline, and to the Conservation Measures Partnership for hosting these contests. So before we wrap up today, I wanted to make sure we all know how we can make the best use of attending a rally. Maybe this is the first time you are coming to a rally, and this is the first time we're doing a rally online. So visit the rally website. We will share the link here, but we have also been sharing it in the listserv. And look at what events are available. We have different time zone groups. So for example, this plenary is best suited for Asia, Asia Pacific, and Oceania. It's the evening in the Americas, but we have other options that are more suitable for the Americas or for Africa and Europe. So look for things that are in a good time zone group for you and make sure you register. There is no overall registration for the rally, and there is no cost related to any registration fee, but you do need to register for the specific events. And once you register, you get a confirmation, and then you can save that onto your calendar. And the most important thing is come prepared to learn and share. And we are setting up a community board, and we will share that on the rally website. So also visit that board. There you can introduce yourselves and put your name and where you are based on a map, and share reflections and lessons as you go through the rally. And we also have a fun gratitude board where you can say thanks to a person who has made a difference for you as a conservation practitioner or as a coach, or remember a book or a place. So check out the community board. And we ask for your support to fill out your session evaluations at the end of each session. And we will also have an end of rally evaluation. And we will offer a prize in a raffle for anyone who has filled out both the end of rally evaluation and their session evaluations in the sessions where they participated. And the prize will be an annual license to a Miro board, or to Miradi. So that will be the prize, and we will announce the winners in December. So we had a poll set up, but let's make sure that we have some closing remarks from Michael Looker, our CCNet chair. And in the meantime, we can share the link to our, to capture a word cloud with all of you, but I will pass it on to Michael. So thanks, Michael, for dedicating some closing words to us.
Well, great. Thanks very much, Christina, and hi, everybody. And thank you for your participation in this opening plenary session for our online rally. And many thanks to John and Christina, and with Olivia's backup and Natalie for leading this session to provide an update on CCNet and an engaging session on CCNet priorities, and especially around DEI. And I hope you all got a lot out of this session. I certainly did, and learned a lot and had a great discussion in the group that I was in. We are a diverse community from many locations around the world, and DEI is central to our network and varied context within which we operate and share our knowledge and experience as conservation coaches. And so with very deep gratitude for your participation, we will be taking your feedback and advice from this session, and we'll share back with you what we have learned and suggested actions that we may form as a result. So thank you for that. I'm hugely excited about the sessions that we have coming up over the next week. As Christina said, it's our first online rally, and I would like to thank, first of all, our session leads and the rally planning team who've worked, really hard over the last several months to bring this program together. And I'm especially going to call out Christina here to thank her for all her wonderful organisation and encouragement in keeping us on track and figuring out the logistics of running the rally online. And given that the online platform is different than our usual in-person rally, where we can more easily mingle and network, I'll just reiterate the comments that Christina just made about attending the rally. And I ask everyone in the sessions that you join to please be present, have fun and fully participate to share and learn from one another. And so with that, I'll wrap up this session and just thank everybody for your participation again, and please enjoy the sessions you join over the next week. So thank you.
Hang on. Sorry, Michael. Sorry to take away your closing words, but I did want to copy the deck, the link for folks, so that you can, and I just, there you go. There it is in the chat. There's the link for the Slido, the word cloud that Christina was mentioning. And if you could, in one word, describe CCNet or what CCNet means to you, what would it be before you go? Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. And we will be sharing the word cloud in the community board. So